Say hi. No, excuse us. Come on.
This video, we're going to be talking about our emergency procedures here. As with any place, we hope and pray no emergency ever happens, but we do want to be prepared in the event that it does. So I'm going to talk about the top few things that kind of we plan and practice for around here. We monthly we do fire drills. Every 3 months we do lockdown drills. I know it's sad that it's got to that, but we do practice lockdown. We don't really practice necessarily any other emergency drills, but I will talk about them. We have attempted to practice a tornado drill, and that is interesting. So I will touch on that and tell you kind of what we do in that situation. But before I go specifically into each drill, I would like to talk about kind of the general things that need to happen in an emergency. The first thing is that you stay calm. The kids are going to feed off of you, so whatever situation we're in may be very scary, but I need you to remain calm so you can think and so you can make sure your students are safe and calm. The second thing is that you always need to know how many kids you have in your room at all times, not just during an emergency. How many kids are in your room? If one is in the bathroom, you need to constantly be counting. Every time you go somewhere, every few minutes in the classroom, you need to be counting to make sure that you have kids accounted for. And finally, any emergency drill we have, you need to grab your binder and your emergency bag so that we will have access to parents' contact information, which we have on the app, so that's a good thing too. So if you don't grab that bag, it's okay. We can still account for them through the app and we can contact their parents, but it is a good habit to get into because if it is a true emergency and we're stuck outside, your bag has tissue and hand sanitizer and all kinds of band-aids so that if we need anything, it would be in that bag. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is a a medical emergency. I didn't mention that when I first started, but it's not really a drill we practice. But if a child is injured so severely that we need to contact 911 and get help, then you definitely need to see me or Diana. And one teacher needs to stay with the injured child, and somebody at this center in that classroom or me or Diana will call 911. The address here is 284 Reedy Creek Road. We do have, you'll need to, let the operator know that kind of what happened, the injuries. Of course, she's going to know, he or she's going to know all the questions to ask you, but we want to stay with that child until they arrive and do whatever the operator tells you. Staff may not transport an ill or injured child in their personal vehicle. If a child is injured enough that they need to be taken to the hospital, that should be a phone call for 911 or the parent, depending on the severity of it. We can't just put them in our car and take off to the hospital. The At that point, don't worry about accident reports until we get the child safe, handled, and then and me or Diana will contact the parent also. You just want to make sure you're not leaving the rest of your class unsupervised while you tend to this child. So if you need help, call for help, holler, get another teacher, do something. We also have an emergency preparedness plan here that the state requires us to do. That's posted at the front, and that gives everybody a responsibility so that during these emergencies we all know what to do. So also I will go over that with you in person because it's a lot to watch, and I like to make sure everybody knows kind of what to do. And again, that's kind of hands-on learning, so you're not going to fully comprehend that plan until we actually do it and you see some live drills. So a fire drill or a fire emergency, we do practice that every month. There's fire pull stations throughout the building. One's located at the front, one's located at the back hallway. If in the event of a fire, somebody needs to pull that alarm to trigger it. Hopefully That doesn't have to happen, but if it's a fire also that is not seen, the detectors will be set off. The fire alarm will go off. But basically, each classroom has an exit door. So each classroom will go out, this is all depending on where the fire is. So, but the way we do drills is they go out of their classroom through the exterior door around the building, and we meet out here in the parking lot on the far side in that kind of field out there. So once you get your class outside, you need to count. But let me start all over. When the alarm goes off, your kids need to calmly line up. They're going to cover their ears because it's real loud. We need to teach them we don't cover our ears because we need to hear our teacher's instructions. So, they know that now. We've done it so many times, but you just want to reiterate that if you cover your ears, you can't hear what your teacher's telling you to do. So line them up, count them quickly. If you have a child missing, do not leave the building. Have one teacher take the other kids and go while you get the kid that is missing. Maybe he's in the bathroom. Maybe he's gone down the hall to take another teacher or something. That kid has to be accounted for. You can't just say, oh, he's in the bathroom and head on out to the parking lot. When you get out to the parking lot, usually we have one teacher walking in front of the line and one in the back of the line to make sure no kids kind of get lost in the shuffle. Once you get out here, line them up, count them again, and me and Diana will come around. You just hold your hand up if you have everybody, if everything's good. We need to know immediately if you do not have everybody. That's why it's important that you always know how many kids are in your class at all times. If it were a real fire, that would obviously go a little bit different. Depending on the size and the location, we would, be using fire extinguishers. Someone's calling 911. There's a lot more to it, but that's just kind of how the drills work. All right, a lockdown drill we practice every 3 months. Now, our building is a little bit complicated when it comes to that. So it's my prayer that we never have anybody come in here and, with a weapon or anything. But if they do, I'm a little disappointed to tell you that it's going to be, there's really no way to plan for that, the way our building's set up. Our doors are half doors. So it's not like if somebody comes in the front, we can shuffle the front 2 classrooms to my office and lock the door, because then they're running right through the lobby where the angry person is. So I would suggest to you this has to be a little bit of planning mixed with a little bit of instinct and common sense. If there is someone in this building that is angry, get children away from them. It's my job to distract them, talk to them, intervene so that kids are safe. So your job is to get them out any way possible, out a side door of your classroom and run to the woods in the back, out a side door in the classroom and go to the field over here. But your job is to keep your children safe, whatever means that requires. Get in a closet and lock the door if you have a closet in your room. If you can get in this office with your kids, get in here and lock the door. But basically, I can't really tell you that because, it would just depend on a lot of things in that situation. The next thing on our plan is a tornado drill. We do not really practice those. They're not really that common around here. I know a couple years ago we had several of them. But in the event of a tornado, everyone in the center is in the back hallway, and we're up against the wall. There's no windows or doors in that hallway, so that would be the safest place. Also, I forgot to touch on the infants during a fire drill or tornado drill are all put in one or 2, depending on how many there is, evacuation crib and taken to the safe area. If there's severe winter weather like snow or sleet, we don't necessarily follow the school schedule because Johnston County Schools has to go by the whole county. We don't. If it's safe to get here, we open. If it's not safe, we don't open. And sometimes that's a tough call. Sometimes you might not know until the last minute. But if we're ever open and you feel unsafe or like you cannot get here, just let us know and communicate. I don't want you risking your life to get to work, but we do try to open if at all possible. If for any reason someone comes to pick up a child and they are obviously intoxicated, do not let them leave with the child. It's okay. It's okay. People don't realize I'm videoing. It's fun. Do not let them leave with an intoxicated person, please. One way that you could prevent this is to stall and get help. So you may want to, let your co-teacher know, or let me or Diana know, hey, and then just act like you're looking for something, or you're checking their binder, or you need to fix their, tie their shoes, something to give us time. Now, we can't necessarily say, we can say you're not taking this child, but the situation is probably best handled if we can get law enforcement out here before the person leaves and let them handle it rather than us handle it. Now, if it came down to it and, they weren't here yet and the person was leaving, I would step in, but I would definitely have a license plate number and, try to get authorities out here to dissolve the situation without us getting involved. Again, you cannot do this at the risk of not supervising the rest of your kids. So this is a situation you were going to need help for. There are some other emergencies that the state of North Carolina says we need to plan for, and those are like if a train derails. Some of these are a little bit insane, so we'll touch on that issue when we do our emergency preparedness training in person. But basically, you've probably done these drills your whole life. All of us have been to school and done a fire drill and tornado drill, and probably a lockdown if you are. Unfortunately, that's what things have gotten to. So basically, if I could say there was a main idea of this video, it would be to stay calm and remember what we've learned during these drills. That's why we do them, so that if for some reason the actual emergencies take place, we know what to do.